bit different. Well, I don't know if it's a different. It's not a different concern, but it's a slightly. It's about surveillance gone wrong, and I think it might be about what Mr. Or Officer Carter referred to as catching guppies in the net when they're fishing expeditions. So I just want to briefly give you some background information about this surveillance that has been experienced by some of my colleagues and friends. I personally live in North Minneapolis and am active in my community and in Camden and North Minneapolis, as I was previously in the Phillips neighborhood of Minneapolis. I've also been an activist in peace and justice work for 35 years. What we're thinking about today is the surveillance of anti-war activists who live in Minnesota. And on September 20th, the Inspector General of the Federal Bureau of Investigation issued a report that was scathingly critical of the role of the FBI in infiltrating, harassing, and investigating domestic peace organizations. And then just 4 days later, on September 24th of this year, in Minneapolis, the homes of anti-war activists were raided by the FBI, 5 homes and the office of the Anti-War Committee, and 14 subpoenas were served on residents of Minnesota, Michigan, and Illinois, requiring their appearance before a federal grand jury in Chicago. Now, when the homes of the 4 individuals were raided by FBI's agents on September 24th, Minneapolis police officers did accompany each of those raids. Personal property was confiscated, computers, cell phones, papers, documents, even some artwork. And that personal property has not yet been returned to the owners. Several of the people who were directly involved in those raids and who were subpoenaed have, along with supporters like myself, met with Mayor Ryback and our Minnesota legislators. Some of them signed on to a Dear Colleague letter and a resolution in the Senate and the House that on just those few hours during the special session this fall. So delegations have been meeting with U.S. Representatives Ellison, Senators Franken, and Klobuchar, staff people, and to express our concerns about what we see as First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and assembly being trampled upon. We are understanding or assuming maybe that the people who have been targeted by these raids and subpoenas are people who have done peace and justice work, sometimes traveled to other countries in the Middle East or in Latin America, and have listened to reports of oppression there and have brought those stories home to our own communities to organize for peace and justice and to challenge the policies of the United States government as they affect people in those other countries. And so, although that has been work that's been going on for all throughout the history of our country, probably, recent changes in interpretation of federal law have been the cause of this wider net to be thrown, we think. So we have a committee that's going on, active at this point, called the Committee to Stop FBI Repression. And we're requesting and demanding that tactics that I've described to you used against citizens who are, we believe, simply practicing their First Amendment rights to speak and to assemble, that those tactics be denounced and ended. And we see those FBI and Justice Department abuses as being interlocked with the local abuses of rights of citizens. So we see overlap there. And I'll pass along.
I'm the next person on your list. My name is Steff Yorek. I live in Minneapolis. I was born in Little Falls, Minnesota. Lived in Minnesota my whole life, and lived in the Twin Cities for about 20 years. On September 24th, myself and my 6-year-old daughter woke up to 8 FBI agents banging on the door of our house. I'm a clerk working at the University of Minnesota. I'm a member of ASME Council 5, a steward in my union, a peace and justice activist since January 15th, 1991. Became active against the Persian Gulf War. I've continued to be active ever since. And it was just, people asked me how I reacted to this FBI raid, and I never expected to have 7 FBI agents streaming into my home. The lawyers examined the search warrants and said that everything on there was associational materials, basically phone books and flyers and things that I always thought were free speech. And as my attorney keeps mentioning, when we talk about the First Amendment, it is both the right to free speech and the freedom of association. And there's really like this. I feel very much a sense, much more than I ever did before, about the importance of understanding the balance of our civil liberty and law enforcement. There's only one thing that all the people who receive speech have in common, which is they organized together the protests against the Public National Commission in St. Paul in 2008, and the legal permitted protests that took place at the state capitol on the first day. And so, because that's the only thing that we have in common, we in fact believe that it has something to do with surveillance of legal and permitted anti-war activity that took place there. That was, and so in this discussion of information gathering and databases, I become very concerned about what it does to our civil liberties